Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving last week. We got a new slate of games. VR, I think, put on about 10 pounds last week.
I did.
We got a new slate of games. We got me, VR, and Chuck. We're going to start off with Chuck Edel. Just by the way, we got some championship games this week. We really have a terrific slate. So it's and a few good ones in the pros too. We're going to start out first. It's not a championship game, but it may have some championship bearings in the Big East for sure.
Yeah, it does. The Rutgers Louisville game. To win the Big East is definitely a situation here. Whoever basically wins is in this game, I believe.
Yeah, there were some complicated things as far as BCS formulas and
right.
Like that.
But a big game here. But both.
Let me give you the line first before you go on. So this is gonna be Chuck Edel's free play. It's Louisville and Rutgers are playing Thursday night. The total is what Chuck's going to give out. We got 43.5 for the total. Chuck, I'm going to let you take it away from here.
Right. Before we talk about it, I was going to say finally Thanksgiving. Detroit finally.
Finally, baby. Finally.
If you took 3.5.
Well, we took 3.5.
Yeah.
But anyways, this game, both these defenses way better than that offense, especially when you look at this Rutgers defense. That's what's carried them all year. 14th in the country defensively, 100th offensively. Louisville, same thing here, 26th defensively, 46th offensively. Now let's look at some intangibles. Last week, Louisville played their best defense that they've gone up against. A pretty soft schedule, and it was UConn. They only had 10 points. It was 10-10. Game goes in overtime. Also, during the game, Bridgewater, the quarterback for Louisville, breaks his left wrist. So he was able to come back in. But what's going to happen in this game? He's not going to be able to play under center. It's also going to limit his play action. He's only going to be able to take out of the shotgun. He's going to be very limited. It's going to definitely. The game plan is definitely going to have to be tapered a little bit. On the other hand, you got Rutgers offense who's not been scoring. Nova's really been struggling. Last week they lose 27-6 to Pitt. Nova 18 for 37, 157 yards. The offense, they only scored 207 yards a couple weeks back. Rutgers, good game against Cincinnati, but they only scored 10, but they hold that Cincinnati defense down to 3 points. Meanwhile, their running back, Rutgers, Jamison, a big part of the offense here. He's still banged up with a bad ankle. They say he's going to try to play. He's banged up. Nova, the quarterback, who's been struggling, hurt his neck last week. Actually had to come out for a while. He's going to play in the game. But, if you look at the defense for Rutgers, they've only allowed 13.7 points a game against a good offense who's been down a little bit. But against Arkansas, they held them pretty good to 26 points. And I just think this is going to be one of those ugly. The game means a lot. It's going to be a conservatively played game, and I like to go under the total.
Could be some weather issues too. Yeah. VR, I know you're a price watcher, a market watcher. This one 43.5. Yeah. I remember when that was an average total. Yeah. I'm a lot older than you. Well, maybe not you so much, but I'm a lot older than you. I remember that was an average total. Now that's the lowest total you're going to see on the board for most weeks.
I agree, especially if it's not weather related.
Yeah.
And absolutely, especially since this is a primetime game, and we know those attract the most casual bettors, recreational bettors, and there's not too many casual bettors that want to sit on an under 43 ticket. Right. They much rather go over knowing they have a shot the entire game. Otherwise, they could be over by halftime.
Absolutely.
With that said, I got to agree with Chuck. I mean, Rutgers has been one of the most impressive teams this year. Coming into the season, not much was expected from them. I mean, nothing reflects that more than if you look at the ATS records. Both these teams come in 9-2 straight up, and yet Louisville's 4-7 against the spread. Rutgers is 7-4. So that's a sign of one team being overvalued, one team being undervalued. My concern with Louisville is this. After they suffered their first loss against Syracuse, it seems like they quit. We saw them lose to UConn as a 10-point favorite at home. To me, it seems like they still haven't gotten over the fact they're not going to be undefeated. But now, all of a sudden, they're playing for something again. And I think if we get a motivated effort, this has underwritten all over it. When you look at Rutgers, like I said, here's a team that lost their head coach and pretty much every assistant Schiano took with him to Tampa Bay. They were looking for coaches up until the season kicked off, trying to find assistants. So what they've done has been phenomenal, but their offense isn't clicking. They're 95th in points scored in all of college football, but 4th in points allowed, and that's why they're 9-2. They're going to get it done with defense, and I think Louisville, coming in motivated, should play defense as well. I got to agree with you, man. I like the under here.
We've talked about it. Let's go ahead. We're going to make it official.
I like the Rutgers-Louisville game to go under. I like it before all the intangibles. We have a lot of intangibles. The quarterback for Louisville, broken left wrist. He's going to have to play the whole game out of a shotgun. Rutgers quarterback Nova, bad neck. Running back Jamison banged up. Even with those guys healthy, I would look at the under in this game. With the intangibles, got to go that way.
Very good. So Chuck Edel on the under, Louisville and Rutgers, a Thursday night game. Coming up next, we're going to go to VR. He's got the Saints and the Falcons, and
don't want to miss it.
We don't want to miss that. So stay tuned for VR, giving us a play on that, and you can see all our videos at pregame.tv.